Well, one hoodie-wearing Democrat admits that the New York criminal case against Donald Trump was politically motivated. And he even says, listen to this, Trump should be pardoned.
I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases, and we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. I'm talking about the New York trial, and now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like now he's a convicted felon.
You know, Tom, if we would have played that out, you would have seen Joy Behar, who I wish they would have kept her shot up the whole time. I would have loved to seen her face as someone who was all in on the New York hush money case. She jumps in and says, well, what about January 6th? And he says, I'm not talking about January 6th.
Yeah.
I mean, what a partisan.
It's interesting. I mean, I do think we give Fetterman too much credit. He gets a lot of airtime, and we're always talking about, oh, look what he said. He made a reasonable statement. Thing is, Trump doesn't need a pardon. He acts like, it's apples
Very
and apples
true.
here, all right? The reason that Hunter Biden needs a pardon is that it was politically motivated by the Democrats because he had a sweetheart deal, and he was willing to take a sweetheart deal that was all arranged for him. And then Republicans made a stink, and they said, this is terrible. And then he wasn't able to hold that thing together. So he was not looking good, okay? Even though the people who were trying his cases were pro-Biden, it was right in front of them. The guilt was right there. So he needs a pardon. Now, Trump doesn't need a pardon. He seems to be doing well on his own. Yeah. So, Fetterman, he knows Fetterman's in a red state. OK, we used to treat that like a purple state. He's in a red state. He sees where the voters are, and he's trying to, curry favor with them.
That's a very astute point, and you're exactly right that technically he doesn't need a pardon. You're not a convicted felon until there's a sentencing. This was politically motivated, the case. It should be dropped. It may be dropped. Jerry, though, I want to remind everyone of what The View says. You wouldn't know anything that Tom Shalhoub just said if you watched The View.
So I'm going to say something you've never, ever heard me say before, but Donald John Trump.
Don't choke.
Is a convicted felon.
The party of rule of law, the party of law and order, the party of family values, is nominating a guy who just got convicted 34 counts.
I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off.
Whatever happens, I feel like we're in a very historic moment. You either will have the first woman president or a convicted felon.
76 million Americans voted on Donald Trump. He won the popular vote. And I would have loved to know what's going through their head as John Fetterman dropped a truth bomb on their heads.
Right. It would be wonderful to know. But I have to tell you, this is ridiculous, right? I mean, these are not equivalent cases, as you were saying, Tom. Not at all. Biden, what did he face? We have prostitutes, illegal drugs, we have the gun charges, right? Nothing stands up to that. And if you're a mother of a daughter or son who right now is facing charges like this, what are you thinking? It's not a fair world out there. How can I possibly support my son or daughter in this when they're going to be convicted and do jail time? And, Biden does not.
And, Sunny Hostin, as if not to be topped by the great Joy Behar, asked about Democrats doing a postmortem. And then she also asked, Kaylee, listen to this, whether Republicans should be second-guessing things.
Do you think there should also be some soul-searching on the Republican side who need to analyze why they would nominate a convicted felon who ran on lies, threats of retribution, and concepts of a plan?
Well, I haven't spent any of my time after the election freaking out or just, thinking about, here's where we are. And I would like to remind everybody that that's the way democracy works.
Yeah. Donald Trump won the popular vote. First time in 20 years. Greatest raw vote total of any Republican ever. But Republicans need to soul search, according to Hostin.
Yeah, if anyone's doing any second guessing here, it's Democrats like John Fetterman who are coming out and admitting that the case against Trump was politically motivated. And they're doing so because I think they've realized how deep of a hole they've dug themselves. They realize that they have opened a Pandora's box with lawfare. The only reason that they're defending Hunter Biden's pardon, the only reason that Joe Biden is considering these ridiculous preemptive pardons is because they are worried that lawfare is going to come back to bite them. Because instead of sinking Donald Trump, their lawfare campaign put him back in power. Now, I don't think that Trump should use lawfare against the Democrats. I think that's bad for the country in general. But he could because of what the Democrats have done. So you're seeing a lot of soul searching where they've realized that they might just have to face the consequences for their own actions.
Tommy.
I'd also say this. I don't think the ladies of The View are doing the Democrat Party any favors. In fact, I think that Senator Fetterman there and many others who actually want to win an election in the future are probably kindly hinting at the ladies of The View to maybe be quiet a little bit. Because if this is what the American people think represents the Democrat Party, if this is the narrative coming out of shows like The View, I think Democrats are going to be in big trouble for many, many elections to come. But they don't have a stake in this because they're not trying to get elected for anything. And the ladies of The View put themselves in a difficult spot because they were very anti-Trump, of course, and that's the only way they can get viewers because they can't go to the middle. Nobody would watch them. They're certainly not going to be pro-Trump. They can't do it. So now they have to continue to be feral and rabid to get any viewers that might want to watch the theater and the circus. That's all they have now is a circus audience. I hope they enjoy it.
Yeah, you know, I wish Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar became chief strategists for the Democratic Party. That would be lovely.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.